Hey, dreamers, and welcome to Dreamers Unite, the talk show for dreamers. I am your host, Sherri Pullum, and as always, I am grateful and I just feel honored that you have come to spend time with me because, as I have said before, you could be doing anything else, but instead, you have come to this channel to be inspired, to be uplifted, and to be elevated from the content and the interviews that we provide. Today, I have a very special guest, and her name is Natalie McKenzie. She is a ray of sunshine on a cloudy day. She is the founder and CEO of The Whole Woman. Let me tell you a little bit more about this dynamic woman. Natalie McKenzie is the founder and CEO of The Whole Woman and is an experienced health advocate, wellness lifestyle coach, and entrepreneur. The Whole Woman is designed to inspire all women to engage all her senses through a series of wellness experiences. Natalie is committed to promoting programs that allow all women to ignite a spark in their lives and find a renewed passion for authentic whole life living. Welcome, Natalie, to Dreamers Unite. I'm so grateful to have you here with me.
Well, Sherri, it's an absolute pleasure. And it's a little odd to be on this side of the interview table now, but I'm sure it'll be just as good for me as it was for you when we chatted on quarantine.
Yes, and that was lovely. I love your show. And yes, I just said to you, I think, offline saying, I think my first line to you probably was like, thank you so much for being here. And here I was, your guest. So I totally get it. I'm just grateful that you're spending some time. I know how busy you are. Your show is every single day, which we are going to talk about. But let's first go back into your journey and coming from the beautiful island of Jamaica. You and your family came here. What brought you here?
Wow. So interestingly enough, I came here alone. I had sisters who were already living here, but I migrated here permanently in 1991. And I first came here because I had a full scholarship to college. So I had already graduated high school in Jamaica and very early and done 2 years of what we call here junior college. And so because we graduate in the 11th grade, so I was 15 when I graduated high school, went off to junior college at 16, spent 2 years there. And then I remember saying to my mom, can I just take a little break? And she said yes. And I went off to work in the hospitality industry because I had been working with the hotels as my summer job at 16 when I
Wow.
wasn't even old enough, but somehow they made concessions and allowed me to work there because I had graduated high school. So that was my summer job and they wanted to hire me full time. So I had the pleasure of doing that. I then got a full scholarship and I moved to a little town in Ohio called Nelsonville, Ohio, 45 minutes southeast of Columbus and all in Appalachia.
What was that experience like for you?
Ah, very interesting. It's ironically my first call with my mom. I moved here on a Sunday, July 15th. I'll never forget it. And my first call home was on Monday. You know, we got settled, etc. And I said, Mom, I don't know what we're going to do, but I have never seen poor people like this in my life. How can we help them? And of course, then she was still mommy, you know, not mom. Now that we're older, I think we say mom, but we really, my mom was mommy to me. It's like, I never forget that. And so it was a bit of a culture shock because being from the island of Jamaica, and from Montego Bay, where we interact a lot with people from all around the world, our view of America was certainly not that which you see in Appalachia.
Mhm.
And so that was interesting. But then it was a great experience. It was a good cultural experience, made friends from all around the world because they had a large international student population. And I had friends from Jamaica and other Caribbean islands, Trinidad, St. Lucia. I remember one of our housemates had been recently moved to the US on a scholarship from Russia. The new Russia at the time, the USSR had just broken up. And so it was a very great cultural experience. I had a roommate who was from India. And that was my experience in Appalachia. I had a 2-year scholarship, but I was prudent. I got out in a year and graduated with honors and knew I wanted to do something that looked a little more familiar.
Well, that is quite a rich experience, though, and certainly, I think, valuable to what you're doing now in terms of the whole woman and really speaking to the diversity of women. So, tell me what was the inspiration, or tell us what was the inspiration of starting the whole woman.
So after graduating college in Ohio, so my first degrees are in hotel restaurant management. And when I left Ohio, I had a choice of coming to New Jersey or going to Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Disney was not my idea of hospitality. I had more of a beach concept and less of a cruise ship concept of hospitality. But there was the other part of me that was being pulled, and that was the side of me that was all about health, wellness, and fitness. And
Mm-hmm.
so I was still young enough that wellness and health were more about fitness and less about the wellness, because we hadn't yet fully evolved. And, Jane Fonda was still very much a part of our influence.
Yes.
Anywho, so when I moved to New Jersey, I decided that I wanted to be more involved in fitness. So I started working with health spas, but they were always women's facilities. And so I developed a niche of working with women. And I spent, I don't know, maybe 6 years working for a chain at the time that was called Spa Lady. And one of the franchises spun off and bought out of the franchise, and the name became Feminine Fitness. And anyone in Bergen County would know of Feminine Fitness. So I was instrumental in the name change, the branding, the building out of the new facility. And that was really just in my blood. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed working with the women. I enjoyed helping them with their successes. So fast forward, I leave the Feminine Fitness and I started my own business. And it was called Smart Bodies. I always thought there was more to it than just pounding on the body. And that was a
Mm-hmm.
wellness, health management, weight management, personal training company. And I did that for many years. Then I went back to school, and my degrees then became health related. And so I went on to study community health, public health undergrad degree. Then I went on to do a master's in health advocacy at Sarah Lawrence. And that really shifted the trajectory of how I thought of fitness, because now I started looking at it more holistically. As
Mm-hmm.
an undergrad, I interned with Blue Cross Blue Shield, and I found I spent a lot of time understanding how claims were processed, how health insurance policies were designed,
Mm-hmm.
what they're intended to do, and then how we administer them. And so healthcare and health policy became very much something that was driving me, because I recognized that our healthcare system is quite good. It's really the administration of it, i.e. the people, that's broken. The greed gets in, the desire for more money and get paid more and give out less. And so then I decided, okay, the other component that I could add to my services was advocating for individuals, helping them navigate the healthcare system. I went from my personal training business, all in school, but with a desire to go back home. And while I had that business, while I was in school, I started a business in Jamaica called My Secret Closet. And it was an intimate apparel business. And once again, here we go, something designed specifically for women. And I did this with my then boyfriend, who is now my husband, because he knew that something was pulling me back home. And he thought, well, let's just find a happy medium. Let's start a business there. You can go back and forth, but whatever you do, don't leave.
Oh, how romantic.
Well,
That is a story. That's another story. You'll have to come back and we'll talk about that.
so we started My Secret Closet, which was our intimate apparel company. Fast forward, just before the market tanked, we decided to pull out of Jamaica, and I took a small sliver of that business, and that was the accessories portion of it. And then we start Natobi Jewels. And so again, here we go. We're servicing women. And if you haven't noticed the trend yet, I'm somewhat of a serial entrepreneur.
I was just getting ready to say, it's in your blood.
It's in my blood. Growing up in Jamaica, my mom had stores. And so I grew up learning how to read and write a ledger with her. There were three big books, and there was the red, blue, and black ink, you know. So business was in my blood. Totally. So we started the Natobi Jewels, and we did that for maybe 5 or 6 years. And somewhere in there, I lost a sister. Oh. And she passed away 6 months before her 50th birthday. And I remember thinking, Natalie, you're running around the world. You're going all over the place. You're just chasing something. Everything you have is within you. Pause. Mm-hmm. Pause, because she is gone, having not even made it to 50 years old. So focus on what's in front of you and nurture your relationships. And I still had not, Obi and I had recently gotten married, and I thought, I need to focus on being a wife. I need to focus on my being. And I remember thinking, you're human being, you're not human doing. And you spend so much time doing and going. And before 9/11, we would have dates in the airport because he was going on a business trip and I was coming from one or going to one. And we just were like two ships passing in the night. Yeah. Anyway, then, I thought, I remember that winter being a harsh winter. It was February in 2000 and I want to say 15. And I thought, I have to do something to get everybody else out of the funk, i.e. get me out of the winter funk. And I got a group of women together, and we started the Whole Woman with one event that was designed to rejuvenate, reignite, and just really help us to settle into our souls. And what I asked them to do was to bring their person and leave their purses. I didn't want to see your brands. I don't want to know how much money you have or don't have. I want, for once, every woman in the room is the same. And all that she is a woman.
Can we just take that in for a minute? Can we take that in for a minute, ladies? Like, all that you are, just be with that. Yeah, and I love what you said. It is about the being, not about the doing. So on this show, Natalie, I catch as many golden nuggets as I can. And I share them out. And this is a golden nugget moment, dreamers, and we're all dreamers, is that I'm catching this one from Natalie. For your being, you are a being first. It is not about the doing. It is about the being. This is a big nugget. This is heavy in my hand. And I'm gonna, boom, throw it at you, dreamers, for you to catch. It is about the being.
In our being, we really get to sit in the seat of our souls, and then we can authentically engage others. From a doing space, we often tend to be inauthentic because we become reactionary and we respond to what's happening around us versus respond to who we are and being authentic to our person. And it's not an easy thing to do. It's a daily reminder. Um, I am not what I wear. I am not what I'm not what I say, but who I am should come from my mouth. And so even when I fall short of being my best person, I do my best to go back and remind myself, were you being in that moment or were you doing? Were you
Mm.
performing or were you doing? Because that on button is right there. We're ready to turn on and just show up and show off, but are you being authentic? And so
That's right.
authenticity really drives everything that I do. If I
Mhm.
can't be myself, I prefer not to do it because then I literally will get a headache.
I understand that. Every time I do this show, my prayer is always just let me be myself. And that is enough.
So
That is enough. I'm like, God, if I can just show up and be myself, then I'm good. Yeah, I'm
that's
good.
it. That's it. That's it. So, and there you have it. The whole woman was born. The women loved it. You know, the policy has always been no telephones, no photos, please. And so the events that you see publicized that we do in open forum,
Mhm.
those were not where the rubber meets the road. That's where we gather to have to party with a purpose. That's where we get together to fundraise to help someone else in need, because what the focus is we're people of affluence rather, who use that to influence. And when I say affluence, I don't mean that as a bunch of wealthy people, getting together, clinking glasses of champagne and,
Yes.
showing off. No, we're affluent in our person. We're rich because of who we are. And then we want to use that to give back and
Mhm.
reach back to someone else in need. And so our motto really focuses on us being available for you to stand on our shoulders. We're here for you to stand on our shoulders. So you're only as tall as I will let you. And so
Mhm.
if I want you to be a giant, then I have to stand on my tippy toes and let you stand on my shoulders. And then, our best selves show up.
That is beautiful. How do you define the whole woman?
So, as an organization, we are an international group of women who really seek to give back to our community. We're women who understand that our strength comes from respecting and loving our men. We're women who understand that we are more than our titles and we're more than our name brands, that I am as big a woman as I am barefoot in the sand, as I am in Louboutins, having my toes pinched to hell. So,
Let me give a little shout for a preach moment. Yeah, that's true.
and as I've gotten older, I've really even given thought to, what am I putting my feet in? If
Hmm.
I am contorting my feet to someone else's definition of good shoes, am I being
Hmm.
authentic to myself? Because am
Yes.
I uncomfortable after I've put those shoes on? And so as I've gotten older and more matured and I hope wiser, I seek comfort now. When you grow up in the islands and you're a tall, lanky kid and you're 14 years old and you wear size 10 shoes, half your shoes don't fit properly. So as
Mm.
I got older and wiser, and I realized if I paid a little bit more for my shoes, not to say who I'm wearing, but for my comfort, I could get further. I could run faster. I can run harder. I can stand longer. I can help more because I'm not in a bad mood.
Because my feet are not killing me.
Not
Yeah.
killing me. There you go. And
Yes, my
so
toes are not pinched and
that's
cinched.
And
Yes.
so I encourage women, wear what's comfortable for you. And
Yes.
so that's a part of the definition of the whole woman. And as for the person, the whole woman is the woman comfortable in her own skin. If she's a wife, she's a happy wife, loves her husband, recognizes that her husband is in fact the head of your household and you're the heart. And so your roles are equal. Your roles are
Right.
quite fine, but we never have to demean our men. If we're mothers that choose to stay home and raise our children and ensure our children's education, etc., are priority, and we can afford to not go back to careers, or we're satisfied with not being in the corporate world, you're just as whole as the woman who sits in the C-suite. And the woman sitting in the C-suite that's unmarried and childless is no less than the woman who is sitting in the C-suite with the husband, with the children, etc. You know, we're all enough right where we are. And I say, because again, my father was an integral part of my life, Daddy's words of wisdom. My father raised us on Proverbs. We just didn't know they were Proverbs until we got older and realized, wait a minute, this is from the book of Proverbs. But my father would always say, if you have nothing kind to say, say nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And he would always remind us the most important person is the one that cleans up. So the guy who picks up the garbage, the housekeeper, the people that serve you. And so I have an attitude that says those who provide a service to me are far more valuable, or just as valuable as the person who sits in the White House.
Mm-hmm.
Without their services, I would now have to figure out how to make it. I
That's
would have to figure it out. And so treating people according to their job title is never something that I have done, because I know there go I, but for the grace of God.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And, you know, my dad used to say these words of wisdom, right, from our parents and grandparents and ancestors. But he used to say, Sherri, you never know who'll bring you your last drink of water. Because at the end of the day, we don't know what can happen in our lives. And like you said, there for the grace of God go I. You may start off in one way in your life and you could take a turn somewhere else. And so we need one another, and we need to recognize, as just you said, we are all equal. What would you like to see for the future of the whole woman?
Wow. Well, being quarantined due to the pandemic caused us to stretch and find relevance in the middle of a time that was so uncertain. And so we created the Quarantine Daily Show on Facebook. And here we are 7 months later, 150 plus episodes, and we're still going.
Kudos.
Thank you. And thank you for having been one of our gracious guests. What would I like to see? I would like to see us have a permanent place of relevance in people's homes, on their devices, where we continue to bring a positive message and create a safe space and place for people to share who they are, so we can highlight those among us who oftentimes get overlooked, and a place where, especially in this very challenging time for this nation, a place where we don't all look alike, but we can all talk with each other. Polite discourse is welcome on quarantine. That's the only discourse we have. And a place for us to learn about our neighbors that look differently, that may worship differently, that come from all around the world.
That's right.
So that's what I'm looking for, is to have a place in everyone's home where they recognize that you come to us for something positive and uplifting.
We are on the same page there. Well, we are on the same page in
Yeah.
more places than it's there. I mean, literally, we don't even want to get on our, hours and hours like innocent. It's going to be a half an hour. It'll be an hour. Husband's calling. What happened? Are you okay?
3 hours later.
Yes, 3 hours later. And thank goodness we do have an opportunity to experience this planet in the way that each of us can, on our own path and in our own way and our own journey. Tell people how we can get to your channel.
Oh, so we are on Facebook, on the Whole Woman page on Facebook, and we're live daily at 6 p.m. We're also on YouTube, and our YouTube channel is TWW The Whole Woman. And let's see, and those are the two platforms that we currently reside. All our episodes live on Facebook, so they're all available. If you want to binge watch them, they're only 30 minutes. Go for it. And our show is called Quarantine.
Quarantine. Do not miss it, dreamers. Uplifting, elevating conversation and words of wisdom from Natalie McKenzie and her guests. Yeah. Do you feel like you're living your purpose in your dream? I feel like you are, but do you feel
I am. I initially thought they were crazy when it was this idea of to go live was given to me on a Wednesday. I got a phone call from a girlfriend, a sister who is just one of my heart sisters. And she said to me, Natalie, you've got to stay relevant. I know you don't go live, but you need to go live. And I thought, live? Heck no, kids do that. And she says, no, you need to stay relevant. Everyone's looking for content. What are you going to do with the whole woman when you can't do events, when you can't gather? And I thought, So I called up Deidre Tate and I said, Deidre, this is what was just presented to me. We need to do it. Deidre said, great idea. Monday we were live.
That's awesome.
And
shout out Deidre Tate. You see the work you're doing.
We love Deidre.
Yes,
but I have to tell you, Quarantine, our daily show, is the easiest thing I've ever done. Talking with people, getting the word out, bridging the gap, bringing positive conversation, helping people to have a voice and a platform really is so easy. Connecting with people, helping people. I am living my purpose. I absolutely am. I'm very satisfied.
There's no greater gift than that, right?
There really isn't.
It has been an honor, a privilege, a pleasure, not only to spend time with you in this way, but to have the sisterhood that we do, to have the friendship that we do. We don't get a chance always to connect as often, I think, as we'd like to. But when we do, it's always magical. And just sitting with you now makes me even more say, I know why. First time, Capitol Grill, our conversation went on to new levels and greater heights and all of that, because we are certainly like-minded spirits and kindred spirits. And I really just honor and appreciate the work that you do.
Thank you.
And the being that you are.
Thank you, Sherri. And the respect, the honor, and the admiration is absolutely both ways, because your persistence on building this out, I'll never forget the first time we talked about Cherry Red. Watching you really stick your heels in and say, no, Dreamers Unite will be the platform, and everything that you do, your commitment to production, to the arts, is absolutely admirable. And you're such a great mom and wife. I don't know how you carve it out, but I think you're stealing one of my hours every day.
I probably am, literally. I don't know. Or you're taking mine too. I don't know.
But you get it all done with excellence.
Well, thank you. I feel the same way. Before I ask the last question, ask you to complete the sentence, I want to ask one more offering from you to give people that might really be struggling and they need a word of encouragement.
I think what I will share is what I keep reminding myself. Give yourself grace. Because if I give myself grace, then it's easier for me to give you grace. If I feel you have disappointed me, if life throws me a curveball, I can pause. And my husband would always say to me, make allowances for other people's doubting. Get on the other side of the table. don't be so hard on yourself. And by not being so hard on myself, then it allows me to give you grace.
Yeah.
And COVID has caused us, we need grace. We need a lot of grace because nothing is going the way we planned it. You could not in a million years have planned 2020. And if you did, God bless you, you're a magician, go to the front of the line and you should be ruler of the world. Just nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing has gone the way we've planned it. So I say, give yourself grace and pause. Pause so you can start from a place of kindness. Because if there ever was a time that we need to be kind to one another, this is it. Kind to our children who interrupt our Zoom meetings at the most inappropriate times. Kind to our husbands who need their assistant from the office who's not there, and suddenly you may become your husband's assistant because he needs a paperclip, literally, whatever it is. And then be kind to your neighbor who wants to talk a little longer than usual because they're home and they see you and they think maybe you have more time when you really want to carve out just 2 seconds for self. Yeah. Be kind. Be kind to your single friends who live alone. And if they're properly socially distancing, probably have not had a hug in 7 months. Be kind and just give grace.
I'm catching with a double hands, 2 hands, kind in one, big portion of grace in the other. Boom. There you go, dreamers, to catch that from this, again, dynamic being. Yeah. So the sentence I'm going to ask you to complete is, before I leave this planet, I would like to.
Whew. I would like to, 2 things. I would like to have the resources to build a school on the island of Jamaica, in the rural parts of the island that had the principles of the prep school I attended as a child in Jamaica, and make it available to kids in the rural part of the island that focused on grammar, it really, I had a very unusual exposure to world affairs and current affairs as a child, and one that really focused on learning and not memorization. And I think that has made me who I am today. So I'd love to do that. The second thing I would like to do is be able to provide adequate health care to a rural community here in America for our Black and brown children who oftentimes go uncared for. So healthcare and education are my 2 big things, and that's what I would love to do. I'd like to actually build a hospital, but I'll do with a clinic.
Okay, we're going to go for the hospital at Dreamers Unite. We're going to keep the vision because, as they say, if it doesn't make your knees knock a little bit harder,
that's right. That's right.
Go bigger. So let's make our knees and teeth chatter, and let's go for the hospital.
Now, I want you to know I've never said these 2 things out loud before. I have never said them out loud.
Well, I get goosebumps. And you're not the only guest that comes on the show and says, I want you to know, and this is just why I do the show. Like, really, I never said that. And there is the power of the word.
Absolutely.
The power in intention. And then there's the power of community, affirming in agreement. So we're just making it all in agreement and affirming it with you. Yeah, I think that is a beautiful dream and a gift for the world. How can people find you if they'd like to stay in touch with you? And maybe help to get the hospital and the
In the
school.
school. That's right. So I always start with the whole woman. So you can connect with us on Facebook. The page is The Whole Woman. You'll know it's us because you'll see our logo. You can also find me on Facebook at Natalie McKenzie. I'm on Instagram, _whole woman. On Instagram, our website is www.twwwthewholewoman.com. And so I think we're pretty easy to find. I'm on Instagram, and that would be the Whole Woman page. And send us an email, drop us a line, drop a comment, like us, friend us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. There's so much coming up. Our guests on our show are always enlightening. We'll do specials for the different holidays. You know, we always do our toy drive at the end of the year. And so we'll do our first virtual event this year. You must join us.
I will.
Watch us daily on Quarantine, live on Facebook, weekdays on the Whole Woman page.
Yes, there you go, dreamers. Please follow The Whole Woman, the Facebook Live, weekdays, support. You know, you have my support here at Dreamers Unite. I'm looking forward to the drive. And when you do that, I will share out and post out as well. And dreamers, as always, I am grateful for your time when you come and share with me and my guests. And if you have not subscribed, you know what I'm going to say right now. What are you waiting for? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And also, while you're at it, hit the blue bell for more uplifting, motivational, and inspirational content. Natalie, my sister, thank you. Thank you. And you're getting the third thank you.
Oh,
thank you. Yeah.
And thank you. I wish you were now.
Yeah. You as well.
Thank you. Blessings.
Blessings to you too. I am grateful to have you on this show today. Dreamers, I'll see you again next time on Dreamers Unite.